everyone. My name is Tawana Patron, and I am a BCBA, the founder of Spectrum Optimal Care, and most importantly, a mom of two neurodiverse kiddos. Today, we're going to discuss play-based learning. Play-based learning is highly beneficial for all children, but especially those with autism spectrum disorder. It improves social skills, communication, and overall engagement in learning activities. It also allows children to express themselves, explore their interests, and develop various skills in a fun and engaging way. Today I'm going to share 5 fun games that you can easily implement at home to support building and enhancing various skills with your child and increasing the bond between you and your child. Why parent-led ABA? Parent-led ABA offers numerous benefits, which include improved generalization of skills, also enhanced family bond, wider application, long-term success, greater independence and self-advocacy, faster child progress, reduced familial stress, increased access to care, and increased parent self-efficacy. So going into these games, there are a couple of general rules. Before giving the directive, make sure you have your child's attention. You can call their name, point to your face, etc. Have your reinforcement ready. If your child is not reinforced by praise, high fives, or tickles, have something small and edible, something small and easy to move on from, or a toy that they can play with for about 5 seconds and you can remove. Have all your materials ready and lined up if needed. Don't make your child wait while you set up. If needed, you can use the time they are enjoying their reinforcement to reset up. We're going to be using most to least prompting when teaching a new skill. We're going to use least to most prompting for teaching a known skill that they may need assistance with. Also, we're going to reinforce based on their response. Think of it as a scale between 1 and 10. If they are independent and need no prompting, reinforce at a level 10. If they need some prompting, reinforce more at a level 7. And if they need full prompting, reinforce more at a level 4. So this could be how long they have a toy, how excited your praise is, if you include high fives and lots of energy, or how many small edibles they get. For example, say your child does not need prompting and they are independent in their response. I would recommend giving about 3 small edibles. But if they do need prompting, still provide that verbal praise and give 1 small edible. The prompts we're going to focus on in these games are model prompt, showing them the response, partial physical prompt, partially guiding their response, and full physical prompt. That's your full hand over hand guiding the response. Prompting most to least would be starting with a full physical, to a partial physical, and then a model. Prompting least to most would be starting with a model, moving to a partial physical, and if needed, moving to a full physical. Game 1, follow the leader. We know follow the leader. The goal of the game is to do what the leader does. This is great for building multiple skills. When we involve manipulation of objects, we enhance fine motor skills and hand-eye coordination, while physical play promotes gross motor and regulation of energy levels. Follow the leader also enhances motor imitation skills and coordination. This game can be tailored based on your child's abilities and developmental level. We can use simple actions such as clapping, waving, or raising both hands up over our head, and then move on to more complex actions such as jumping, spinning, hopping on one foot. We could also use items such as rolling a car or bouncing a ball. The main point is to be creative and engaging. Make up movements on the fly, giggle, take turns being the leader, and have fun. Now let's look at this game from different levels of child development and understanding. So for our lower language, our motor imitation ability, we want to use physical prompting at first. If the activity is not in itself reinforcing, pair your verbal praise with reinforcers. Keep demand simple. Modify praise based on prompt level. So let's watch our video. Hi, I'm Tawana Patron, and I am going to show Follow the Leader. This is my son. He is my oldest, and he is going to help us with showing how to teach for a lower language level child. So the steps are, first, we want to get attention. We're going to provide the directive while modeling it. I'm going to physically prompt him, then provide reinforcement. This reinforcement can be high fives, it can be verbal praise, or it could be something small, such as like Skittles, M&Ms. I have like fries broken up into bite-sized pieces. That's a good idea as well. And this is for those kiddos where like a high five or verbal praise won't be fully effective. So once we get the correct response, we're then going to do our prompt fading. I'm going to start with a full physical, and then I'm going to move to a partial physical, and then I'm going to let him do it independently. So are you ready? So first, get his attention. Look at me. Good job. Do this. Good job. High five. And that's how it goes. So let's say we get the full physical. Now let's show it with a partial physical. Look at me. Good job. Do this. Awesome. Good job. High five. So since I went from a full physical to a partial, I'm sure you heard my excitement kind of increase. And then when we get the independent, that's when we increase it even more. So we're more excited, we're giving more high fives, maybe some tickles. He is ticklish, so maybe some tickles. Maybe instead of 1 fry, we'll give 3. We just want to make sure that we're encouraging more independence. So hey, when I do it with help, I still have fun, I'm still getting praise, but when I do it independently, I get even more. Hi, I'm Tawana Patron, and I am... So follow the leader for our moderate language and motor imitation level kiddos. You may want to start with a simple demand when teaching the game. Work your way up to harder demands once you see momentum in responding and engagement. This time, we're going to get the attention. We're going to provide our SD, do this, copy me, one of those, immediately model the action. But then we're going to wait 3 to 5 seconds for a response. Now, you may still need to prompt in the beginning if it's still a new skill, but make sure you're both having fun. Pair the reinforcement if it's not fun on its own, and the difficulty level is increasing. We're going to modify praise based on prompt level and make sure we always reinforce. Let's watch this video. My youngest son is with me right now, Davon. He is my kiddo that has autism and ADHD. Both of my kiddos are neurodiverse. This is my youngest. He is going to help us with the moderate and more advanced game techniques. So this one will be the moderate, follow the leader. I'm going to make sure I have his attention, present the SD, do this, copy me, maybe mix it up, immediately model the action. I'll wait 3 to 5 seconds for a response, prompt if needed, and then reinforce. I doubt for this kiddo I'm going to need to prompt because this is a skill that I actually worked with him on a couple of years back. So we'll give it a try. So look at me. Good job. Do this. High five. Good job. Copy me. Good job. Do this. Good job. High five. And we would just continue. Now we are sitting, so I wasn't able to get some of those more advanced gross motor, such as jumping, spinning around, maybe even lunging. We could also try with an item. Look at me. Good job. Do this. Good job. We can work on a lot of those fine motor, our gross motor, and our imitation. Make sure we are reinforcing, we're making it fun, and this would be for our moderate or advanced. My youngest son is with me right now. For game 2. So I Spy. This is a common game as well. The goal is for one person to identify an object and provide a detail about it for another to find. So play activities such as these motivate verbalization and increase language development and vocabulary, while also encouraging interaction, turn-taking, and enhancing visual discrimination skills. So for our lower language, our visual discrimination kiddos, we want to start with simple cues and an array of 2 to 3 items. Keep your description short and simple to things such as colors or shapes. State RSD, I spy, then prompt a response, so pointing or grabbing the object, and provide praise. As you notice an increase in correct independent responding, widen the array by adding more items and modify your praise based on prompt level. Let's watch this example. So for this game, I spy, we need to have our array ready. I have these cute little erasers and I have them in 3 different colors because we're doing the beginner for I spy. So for this, we want to focus on either colors, shapes, something that we know our child either knows very well or it's something easy to teach them. I'm going to provide the directive, I spy something with the color. I'm going to physically prompt him, reinforce, and then I'll move to a partial prompt and then a model prompt. So let's see how this looks. I set the array up in front of him, get his attention, good job. I spy something blue. Full physical, touch the blue. Good job, high five. Just like that. Now let's say we're moving to a partial physical. I spy something yellow. May just guide it kind of there. He gets it. Good job, high five. Or our edible reinforcement, a small toy, while we set up and then repeat the SD. So if we prompt back from a full physical to a partial physical, our next would be a model. And this is how that would look. I spy something green. And I would just model touching the green. Good job, high five. Just like that. So this is for our beginner I spy kiddos. As you notice with my kiddos, they do really respond to that verbal praise. Even my older teenager, you see him smile a couple of times when he's getting his high fives and his claps. Sometimes that is more than enough. Ideally, it would be more than enough. But for those kiddos that need a little bit more, like I said, you can find a toy. Just make sure it's something that they don't mind taking turns with because you'll be removing it and then giving it back for a couple seconds, then removing it. Or small items such as stickers that we can redirect off of pretty quickly, or those really small edibles. So this would be for our moderate language and visual discrimination ability kiddos. So we're going to have a broader and messier array. This can be a page of a book or in a simple room with not much distractions and facing like one wall. Prompt a response if needed, provide that reinforcement, modify your praise based on the prompt level. Let's watch this example. This is our video for I Spy. This is the more moderate language and visual discrimination kiddos. I am going to provide a broader, messier array. For this one, I'm going to actually choose a picture of the book. Might grab a book that has color pictures just because I know my kiddo will attend that a lot more. And what I'm going to do is state I spy something, give the cue, wait 3 to 5 seconds for him to respond. If he's looking around, that's him responding. Give him time. But if he just sits there for 3 to 5 seconds, that's when I'll prompt, reinforce, fade prompts as needed. So, Davon, got his attention? Good job. I spy something green. That is green. High five. Good job. I spy something with a helmet. Good job. Fist bump. There we go. I spy a girl. Good job. High five. And we could even move on to something in the environment. So, Davon, I spy something blue. Good job. High five. And we just continue our game that way. When we get to our more advanced kiddos, we can always take those turns too. With all of these games, try to make it back and forth. So I can ask him, it's your turn, Davon. What do you spy?
I spy something yellow.
Is it this card?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Good job. That was an awesome color to pick. And remember, for our moderate to more advanced, we might do colors, we might do shapes. I said somebody with a helmet, a girl. So we want to build up as our child advances. So if I would have said, I spy somebody with a helmet and he had difficulty, I would have pointed it out for him. And then I would have reintroduced that the next time. So I spy somebody with a helmet. He would have chose it. Awesome job. Move on to something else. Maybe 2 or 3 more things. Come back to the helmet to make sure that they have that. So we're building a lot of skills. We're teaching them how to identify things. We're teaching them critical thinking, a lot of that back and forth, increasing their language, the visual discrimination. This game is working on a lot of different aspects for your child. This is our video for our next game, Simon Says. So I'm pretty sure everybody knows Simon Says as well. It involves directing another to do an action when Simon says to do it. This is another game to motivate verbalization and increase language, and it also encourages interaction and turn taking. So for our lower language or attending kiddos, we would begin by having their attention, stating Simon Says, followed by the directive, paired with a physical prompt of the action. We provide reinforcement and continue prompting as needed, modify the praise level based on the prompt level. Let's watch our video. This is our video for our beginner level Simon Says game. So for this one, I am going to provide the SD. I'm going to make sure I have his attention first. Provide the SD, Simon Says, with an action, physically prompt that action, and I'll reinforce. And then I'll show you how we will fade our prompts. So for this one, we would go from a full physical to a partial physical to a model. So let's try it. Make sure he's looking at me. Simon Says, touch your nose. Touch your nose, good job, high five. That's our full physical. Now our partial physical, Simon Says, touch your nose. Good job, high five. So I guided his hand up, let him finish the actual touch. For our model, Simon Says, touch your nose. Good job, high five. And then we would fade to independence. Remember, for each level of prompt, the lower that we're going, the higher the reinforcement. When it's independent, we want 100% reinforcement. We're super excited, high fives, tickles, lots of edibles, whatever that looks like for your child. Okay, now to our moderate. This is our video for our moderate language and attending. We're going to have that attention, begin by stating our SD, Simon Says, followed with the directive. We're going to wait that 3 to 5 seconds for a response. If no response or if the response is incorrect, we will then provide those prompts and then prompt as needed based on the level that your child needs, reinforce based on the level of prompting. Back with my youngest again, and he's going to show us our moderate language and attending for Simon Says. So for this one, I'll make sure I have his attention, provide the directive, wait a couple of seconds for a response, model if no response or an incorrect response, and prompt is needed. So, hi Devon. Simon Says, blink. Good job. Simon Says, stick out your tongue. Oh. There you go. Good job. Simon Says, wiggle your ears. Wiggle, wiggle, high five. Good job. And just make it fun. Again, we're sitting down, so we couldn't do like jump up and down, stand on one foot. But the more advanced they are, we want to increase it, provide the prompts as needed. So let's say I was to say, Simon Says, touch your nose, but Devon touches his mouth. Touch your mouth for me. I would try again, nose, good job, high five, and then test for independence. Simon Says, touch your nose. Good job, high five. And we would just provide those prompts if needed, retest for independence, and then maybe do a couple different SDs, come back to touch your nose. We also want to make sure that we're getting that back and forth too. So do you want to try?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Simon Says, do a thumbs up.
I did 2 thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
High five. Good job. Remember, make it fun. You're teaching your child, but you're also building that bond. To our next game. Back with my youngest again, and he's Matching. Matching is fun and interactive and involves exactly what the name states, matching items. Games such as these aid in increasing that match to sample skill, problem solving, critical thinking, and attending. For our lower language, our matching to sample ability kiddos, we would begin with an array of just 2 to match. State directive match, then immediately physically prompt a response. Provide reinforcement and continue prompting as needed. Modify your praise based on the prompt level. Let's watch an example. We are back with my oldest son again to do our matching game for lower language or match to sample kiddos. So for this one, we're going to want to get an array of 2. So we want 2 matching items. We're going to state the SD match, immediately prompt, reinforce, and then provide prompt fading. We're going to fade from a full physical to a partial physical to a model, and then independence. So I have my array of 2. Actually, I need one more. That way I have my matching item. I am going to make sure I have his attention. And then match, full physical prompt. Good job, high five. Now we would go to a partial physical. Make sure I have his attention. Match, hover it over, let him complete. Good job, high five. Make sure we reinforce even higher for that one. Now we will do a model if needed. Sometimes on that second prompt, you'll notice before you even reach, they go ahead and go. Of course, reinforce that big. We want a lot of cheers, a lot of high fives, a lot of the edible reinforcement, whatever that looks like for your child. But if they're still needing some prompting, we'll move to the model prompt. Make sure we have their attention. Tell them, match, match, good job, high five. And you notice when I did the model prompt, I still provided the SD. When he had the card and he did it, I provided the SD. So that way we're pairing. This is matching. So that would be for your lower level kiddos until we start seeing that independence, and then we can increase the array. So maybe add one more color. Oh, that's a matching. Add one more color and try again, and then we can move on to our moderate language and matching to sample, and then even in advanced language, our matching to sample. We are back with my oldest. Okay, for our moderate language and match to sample kiddos, we want to begin with a broader array, so 4+ items. We're going to model matching, then provide the directive to match, wait 3 to 5 seconds, and if needed, prompt a response, provide reinforcement and continue prompting as needed, modify praise based on prompt level. So this is if matching isn't an already fully known skill. That's when we would model that initial match just to show the kiddo what we're doing. If your child is aware of matching, they already paired the word match with the action of matching, then we can just state match, wait that 3 to 5 seconds, and then prompt if needed. Let's watch an example of that. This is the video for our more advanced matching game. I'm using my oldest again for this one. So for this one, we're gonna want a broader array. So we want 4+ items. I would also recommend a messy array. So instead of lining them up exactly, kind of move them around. And it's gonna be a little more complicated. So for my cards, I have cards that have the same color and number. I have cards that have the same color, not the same number, and cards that have the same number and not the same color. So I can make this a little bit more complicated if I put out multiple different colors and then hand him a card where the color won't match but the number will, or vice versa. For our more advanced kiddos, we're going to wait that 3 to 5 seconds for a response. If I don't see a response, then I'm gonna prompt him from least to most. So in this case, it would be a model, partial physical, full physical prompt. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna lay out 4 different cards, and I'm going to make it a little messy. It's not going to be exact. And I am going to have him match a yellow 6 to a blue 6. So there is one other yellow, it's a 4, and one other 6. And I want him to match the yellow 6 to the blue 6, not to the yellow 4. So I'll make sure I have his attention, give him the card, match. Good job, high five. So that is our independent. Let's try it where he needs a prompt. Match. Wait the 3 to 5 seconds, and then I will guide. Good job, high five. And I started with the partial physical because it was in his hand. So if we're doing where we want them to slide it over, that could be where we can model it, bring it back. But since it's already in his hand, the most appropriate prompt for that would be the partial physical. And then we would repeat the same exact one and test for that independence. Match. Good job, high five, tickles, all of that, make it super fun. This is, like I said, for our more advanced kiddos, so the array is going to be a little messier. As they increase their skill on this, you may want to add a broader array. You may want to add different, like 3D to 2D. So maybe I'll have a picture of an octopus and then this little octopus eraser, and I want them to match that. Maybe there'll be different sizes, so it'll be like a big ball and a small ball. But that's where we definitely want to increase that matching skill. So we're not matching identical, we're matching similar. I would also like to note that in the video, I did not tell him to match the 6. If you are increasing the difficulty and if you have an array where there's 2 possible matches, he could have matched a yellow card to a yellow or the number to the number. We want to make sure we emphasize. So match 6 or match yellow. Our last game, story time. This is great for ending your everyday night. This game encourages social interaction, collaboration, imagination, enhanced communication, and it motivates verbalization of ideas, needs, and wants. Story time should be a routine activity as it fosters language development, imagination, and social interaction. Choose stories based on your child's developmental level and their interests. So for our lower language or attending ability kiddos, we want to make sure we start with stories with more pictures than words and keep the attending to 1 page at a time. Discuss what is in the pictures and provide high praise throughout. Make it fun and interactive. Let's see an example. So now is our video for story time. I have my oldest with me again. He's going to show us both the lower language or attending and the moderate language and attending. So for the lower language, we're going to select a story with little words. We definitely want it to have more pictures. So these have literally 1 sentence per page. We want to keep the attending to that 1 page, so I'll read that, make sure I have his attention on the book, read that sentence, then I'll discuss what's in the pictures with him, provide high praise, and we'll move on to the next page, do the same thing, making sure we're keeping that attention. So this is for our kiddos where they may not be able to discuss what's in the picture, they may be limited to simple 1-word sentences, or they may have difficulty with sitting and paying attention. So I have my story. I'm going to read 1 page. We're going to discuss. So Jen and Ken get wet. And make sure they're attending first. He was attending. He's always attending. So it's kind of second nature for me to just go. But make sure they're attending. Read the page. Jen and Ken get wet. And then ask them questions about it. So what are Jen and Ken doing?
Getting wet.
Good job. So let's say our kiddos can't talk. In that instance, what we would do is we would talk and we would just make sure we're engaging. So look at the ducks. There's 1, 2 ducks. Oh my goodness, they're getting Ken and Jen wet. We'll just provide a lot of that language. And even if our kiddos aren't at the stage where they're able to verbalize, we do want to encourage any kind of sounds. So say they're laughing, they're giggling, they're vocalizing, even if it's not creating words, but they are vocalizing. We want to reinforce that. The more that they vocalize, the higher the praise is. We're giving high fives, we're tickling, good job. We want to encourage as much vocalization as possible because that vocalization is what we shape into words, which is what we then shape into sentences. So now, okay, story time. For our moderate language and attending kiddos, we want to increase that attending and the discussion of the story. Ask questions, predict the outcome, and encourage a child to chime in by providing high praise for participation. Let's see an example of this. My oldest son is here to help us with our moderate language and attending kiddos. So it's going to look very similar to the previous video. We just want to increase the attending and discussion. We want to read a page and discuss, provide high praise. I have another book here that has a lot more words on it. So this is for our more advanced attending kiddos. I'm not going to actually read the whole page. I'm just going to go through the steps that we would use. So I would make sure his attention's on the book. Good job for paying attention. I would read the page and then we would discuss the book. So in this case, it's a Spider-Man book about Peter Parker and his friend at the movie. So I would ask, hey, who is Peter Parker at the movie with?
His friends.
He is there with his friends. What does it look like is going on? What is he doing?
Eating popcorn.
He's eating popcorn. Popcorn's so good. I love popcorn. And we would just continue that discussion. We're going to encourage, we can start with a lot of those yes, no, one-word questions. We do want to encourage more discussing. So try to have more open-ended questions when possible. If we notice that they're losing kind of that attention, it's not so fun anymore, we may want to draw that back. But this is a really good skill for our kids to have because it increases that back and forth conversation. It also increases their critical thinking. They're able to look, like when I just asked my oldest, what is Peter Parker doing? I had to point to the popcorn. It took him a second because he just looked at me. So I pointed at the popcorn and he was like, he's eating popcorn. That's perfectly fine. You can prompt as much as you want. You can ask more questions from the actual passage or about the picture. Mix it up, kind of base it on your kiddo. Just remember to have fun. Make sure that their attending is because they are having fun and not so much because we're making them. We want this to be a very joyful activity and ideally a regular one because it really does increase both our kids' understanding of language, but also their ability to provide language. Okay, so these games are great for building many important skills for our children, but the most important part is having fun. Make sure they're enjoying this time with you, as not only are they increasing their abilities in very important aspects of their development, but you both are also fostering positive parent-child bonding. Also, make sure that the games are being played at age-appropriate levels. As you can see, my oldest was a little, even my youngest, they were a little zoned out for parts of it. And honestly, it's because I wasn't challenging them at their capabilities, and they kind of knew that we were just doing this to help other families. So try to make sure that it fits your child. Try these games with your child today and share your experiences in the comment section of this video to let us know how it worked for you. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out. Also, if you would like independent guidance and support tailored to your child and family, fill out a request for service form on our website and someone will reach out to you to discuss your options. Please remember to like, subscribe, follow us for more tips and resources on parent-led ABA.